Have you ever walked away from a conversation knowing you said everything you could, yet feeling like you somehow lost? That knot in your throat, that heaviness in your chest, as if each word only pushed you further from your own power. Maybe you've been surrounded by people who speak loudly, cut you off, mock you, and dominate every room they enter, arrogance dressed up as confidence. And deep down, maybe you believe that staying quiet meant weakness, that not defending yourself meant surrender, that not reacting meant losing. But what if I told you that's an illusion? That true power has never been in what you say, but in what you choose not to say. Friedrich Nietzsche, one of the most misunderstood thinkers in history, saw a truth most people never dare to admit. Those who speak too much reveal too much. Those who feel the need to convince are already at a disadvantage. We've been conditioned to think life is a constant debate, that we must explain ourselves, defend our ideas, and win arguments to prove our worth. But Nietzsche proposed something radically different, a sharper, quieter, and far more dangerous strategy. He believed silence is not the absence of words, it is the presence of mastery. Silence unsettles. It destabilizes. It forces the other person to sit with their own thoughts, their own discomfort. This message is for you. For the one who feels overshadowed in conversations. For the one who leaves feeling unheard. For the one tired of being the nice one, who keeps the peace while others take advantage of it. You may have mistaken your silence for weakness. But today, I'll show you that silence can be your greatest weapon, and that real victory comes not from winning an argument, but from never needing to enter one. Why do we feel such a burning urge to reply, to correct, to prove ourselves? Because deep inside, we've been programmed to think that if we stay silent, we're letting the other person win. Nietzsche saw this as a symptom of our deepest insecurity, the ego's fear of appearing weak. Behind that fear is a fragile self-image that confuses disagreement with personal attack and turns every conversation into a battlefield. Here's the hard truth. Most people don't argue to find truth. They argue to protect their own beliefs, because if those beliefs are shaken, their entire identity feels threatened. That's why the moment you start justifying yourself, you've already stepped into their arena and lost. Because the need to explain shows that you still crave approval, validation, and understanding from others. Nietzsche called this herd morality, living by the standards of others, trying to be seen as good or correct by the group. But in doing so, you give away your power. True strength lies in holding your ground without trying to make others agree with you. It's being able to stand misunderstood, criticized, or even laughed at, without flinching. Nietzsche's ideal, the Übermensch or Overman, doesn't live by reacting to the world. He shapes the world in his own image. And here's the twist. He often does this without saying a word. The Übermensch doesn't rush to prove himself. He doesn't get pulled into emotional traps. He chooses when to speak and when to let silence speak for him. Because he understands that silence is a language that doesn't beg for agreement, it imposes presence. The silence of such a person is not empty. It's a wall that others can't climb. It's a quiet that forces people to question themselves, to guess what's going on in your mind. And in that guessing, they make mistakes. Every word you say reveals your position. Every emotional outburst exposes a weak spot. That's why the truly strong speak less, and only when it's necessary. Psychology confirms what Nietzsche sensed. In a heated moment, silence feels like judgment. When you don't respond, the other person starts feeling exposed, unsure, even paranoid. Is he judging me? Did she see my insecurity? Did they catch my lie? Without your reaction, they lose control of the narrative. Their brain fills the void with fear, assumptions, and doubt. Silence cuts where no one sees, but everyone feels. For manipulators, silence is devastating. They rely on your emotional reactions to keep control. When you don't give them that, they panic. They're forced to face themselves without the distraction of your defense. But here's the deeper part. Silence also triggers old wounds in people. Fear of rejection, abandonment, or being irrelevant. In a world addicted to attention, nothing is more intolerable to the ego than realizing they don't have yours. Now that you understand its psychological power, let's turn silence into a conscious tool, not just for defense, but for dominance. 1. Stay silent when every part of you wants to speak. This is the hardest step. Your instincts will scream to defend yourself. But each time you resist, you prove to yourself that you don't need anyone's approval to stand your ground. 2. Listen like a hunter. Most people listen just to reply. You listen to observe. Catch the contradictions, the nervous pauses, the overcompensations. If you choose to respond, your words will land with precision. 3. Let the silence last. Pauses create tension. Tension is power. The longer you hold it, the more the other person's mind starts working against them. 4. Be unpredictable. Once you master silence, people never know what to expect from you, and that uncertainty puts you in control. To reach Nietzsche's ideal, you must kill the silence of fear and cultivate the silence of presence. The kind that doesn't bend, that doesn't apologize for existing, that can stand in chaos without losing itself. True silence is not about retreating from the world. It's about shaping it through self-mastery. From today on, your silence should stop being an escape and start being a statement, an unshakable boundary, a quiet force that commands respect. Because the weak shout, the strong remain silent, and the wise choose when to speak.